Welcome to the Chris Collector Show, the ultimate podcast for growing your collecting skills through online video. If we are meeting for the first time, my name is Kairi Johari, better known as Pak Jofe, the Chris Collector from Singapore. This show is dedicated to helping you develop a healthy collecting habit and learn how to profit from the latest collecting trends, reviews, and helpful guides. On today's episode, I am going to share with you 5 different crease types that you may not be aware of and their respective functions. No doubt, creases are more or less carries the same features in its design and construction, but its purpose is fundamentally unique depending on its classification type and intent at the time of production. So, if you are interested to understand more on what crease types you are adding into your collection, then this episode is definitely for you. So, without further ado, let's roll the intro and get on with the show. Do I need to powder my nose or something? Good, do I look good? Skills and God. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Hope you guys had an awesome week. This is episode 3 of the Chris Collector Show. If you missed the previous episodes, check them out right here. Do stay and watch until the end for a bonus content where I share with you 2 crease types that are not worth adding into your collection. In case you are wondering why I am all dressed up today, this is the month of Shawwal, a month where we Muslims celebrate Eid al-Fitr after completing a month of Ramadan fasting. It is a bit of a disappointment that restrictive measures have been put into place in Singapore beginning 16th of May 2021 with the jump in number of new COVID infections in the weeks before this. However, I do urge that we all act sensibly and responsibly. If you are a Star Trek fan, then this quote by Captain Spock should resonate with you. Logic dictates that the needs of the many outweighs the needs of the few. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all Muslims celebrating Eid al-Fitr Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir dan Batin. By the time this episode airs, the month of Ramadan would have passed, and rightfully, we should all be looking forward to visiting our family, relatives, and friends. However, let's not forget that the COVID situation has not improved, so do maintain social distancing and follow the recommended guidelines as suggested by our health ministry. For the benefit of non-Malay viewers, I am in my traditional Malay outfit called the Baju Kurung, Cekak Musang style. This is the traditional dress of a classic Malay gentleman, complete with traditional headdress called the Tengkolok and waistcloth called the Samping. Now, before I start to ramble away, let's get on with today's show. From previous conversations with new enthusiasts, it seems there's a sweeping generalization and assumption that all creases are the same. I would like to address this misconception in today's episode. To a certain extent, that understanding may be correct. The way a crease is made is generally the same. The process may differ from time to time depending on the creativity and ingenuity of the pandai besi, but be aware that the crease over the years have evolved from being just a practical utilitarian object to something that is beyond ceremony and tradition. It has evolved from being just a weapon into a functional accessory in the Malay customs and traditions that held significance at a communal and personal level. In no order of significance, let's start with the first crease type on the list. Number 1, crease Sunda. We will start off with the gargantuan brother in the family of 5 crease types that I will be sharing today. The Sundang, also referred to as the crease of the Moros in various literature, is obviously not made for stabbing. It is more of a slashing crease type. Why is it still accepted as a crease then? The Sundang features traits similar to that of a crease. Therefore, it is still regarded and accepted as a crease by collectors. Sundangs are generally heavier and broader than typical crease. The blade of a Sundang usually measures 23 inches or more. These weapon class types gained popularity and interest among Americans who occupied the cluster of islands we now refer to as the Philippines. When the American occupiers faced off against local resistance fighters, Gallant tales of how the local resistance faced off against the Americans are aplenty. There's even stories of American soldiers being cleaved in half in one stroke from this weapon type. Judging from the weight and size of a traditional sundang, this is not impossible. It may be possible to cut a man cleanly in half. Now, let's not generalize that the sundang type of kris is only native to the regions of the islands of the Philippines. No, sundang types of kris have been found natively produced in Borneo, Banjarmasin, Sumatra, and even the northern Peninsular Malay states. This would suggest that the sundang is not exclusively limited to any one specific region. I can go on and on about this weapon type alone, but for the sake of today's video, I will keep it summarized and save the details for a future episode. This will also apply to the remaining kris types that I will be sharing today. Number 2, the kris panjang. This is a definite personal favorite of mine. This kris type is typically found in the Malay regions, namely Sumatra, Kalimantan, Brunei, and the Peninsular Malay states. By design, they can be as long as a sundang in length, but it is not one it typically used in combat. The kris panjang serves two functions. Firstly, it is a part of an identifying regalia to show status and authority of the person wielding it. It may also be referred to locally as the kris mandat. A kris that bears the office of the bearer. This is evident in formal photos of royalty from the Malay states. Secondly, this kris type also serves as a tool in execution. The condemned, usually one who has committed a heinous crime, will be put to death by means of salang, by a kris. Hence, the kris used in this ghastly task will be referred to as the kris penyalang. Be it functions as a symbol of office or a kris to perform execution, it is worth mentioning that back in the day, these two types of kris can only be commissioned and presented by the ruling lord, Raja or Sultan of the land. Number 3, kris dampur. For lack of better term, this refers to normal size kris, or how I would crudely refer to it as adult size kris. These are the general type of krises that are abundant and found across the regions of the Nusantara. Measuring somewhere between 15 to 17 inches, they are not too bulky and not too long, but still effective in close quarters melee assaults. The nature of this kris type itself, which employs stabbing as its primary offensive, makes it the perfect size sidearm of the Malay natives of this region. In general, this is the standard kris type carried by men and women alike, though it may be contested that for ladies and someone of smaller stature, their krises tend to be slightly smaller than the average size kris. This is evidence that the kris traditionally is a customized weapon class that is made to suit its prospective custodian. Number 4, kris selit. The kris selit types are usually krises with blades measuring under 10 inches. While it may still be a utilitarian weapon, its function mostly is geared towards formality. The kris selit is usually worn in formal ceremonies, and its emphasis is centered on its hilt and adornment. The more lavish the material used and intricate the carving artwork is on the hilt, it would suggest the higher the social status of the owner. Kris selit are an accessory to complete the traditional dress attire equivalent to that of today's black tie event wear. Now, number 5, kris azimat. These are kris types that are not made for combat. The manner in which it was made is less functional and practical to be used in combat. Instead, it was made as a physical manifestation of intention and prayer. It may appear with intricate designs or symbols etched onto the blade, but based on old specimen examples, the style in which it was made was indicative if it was made for practical use or merely for good luck. In this region, we are not short of fine examples of such kris types. Kris types that falls into this classification usually measures around the same length of a kris selit and lesser. It will feature complete fittings similar to that of their regular sized counterparts if it was meant to be on the person, or without any fittings if the intention is to be buried on site. Such examples are the kris sergeant types. For each of the 5 Chris types that I have shared today, I can go on and on with more examples. I will save them for future episodes. So what Chris types do you have in your collection as of today? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know the state of your collection. If you are still here, thank you very much for staying till the end. Now, as promised, here is your bonus content for today's episode. If you are taking up Chris collecting as a serious hobby, there are 2 Chris types that you need to be aware of and avoid at all costs where possible. Else, you need to avoid these 2 Chris types like how you will avoid getting COVID infection. That is just how bad they are, but unfortunately, many in our community are not only disillusioned by its purported use, but also inadvertently created more confusion to the next generation of millennial collectors. If you are getting these Chris types as specimen examples for future references, then by all means, but please ensure that you are paying the justified price for it. The problem is, these 2 Chris types are often confused with genuine examples worthy of collections. Worse, it is being sold off at a ridiculous price tag, not worth the material used in its production. Now, the first Chris type is known as a Chris Kodian, or also referred to as a Chris Kodi. These types of Chris are made in the style and form as a traditional Chris, but they are more of a mass-produced item catered towards the tourist market. They may look like a traditional Chris, but the choice of material and artistry style falls short of the real deal. Blades are often made from recycled or scrap metals like tin and zinc. Where a traditional Chris takes months to produce one, a Chris Kodi can be produced on average one every few hours. The choice of wood for its fittings like its handles and sheath too are often of poor quality. And the finishing are often crude and lackluster. These Chris types are often made for the budget souvenir hunter. If you are getting one to commemorate your holiday trip, by all means. But what disturbs me most is when those who seek to profit from these Chris types, they will add stories to it, ridiculous, mystical, saturated elements into it, when in truth there is none. Not only is it embarrassing, but it is a pity when these items get inherited and believed by their successors that is something mystical that needs to be revered. A Chris Kodian today will still be a Chris Kodian in 100 years from now. Still worthless unless it is getting or going to be used as reference to describe how profiteering individuals from this time seek to commercialize an otherwise noble tradition. So be more observant of telltale signs of a Kodian specimen. The price itself is an indicator. And next would be the material use. Some would go to the extreme of saturating the blade into a lacquer-like finishing to conceal the real metals used. It is unfortunate that some dealers too are passing off mass-produced Kodian pieces as a real Chris. So be a smart collector and go for quality instead of quantity. The next type of Chris that you should avoid are the Chris Chrisan types of Chris. Chris Chrisan types of Chris are what I refer to as the charlatan's Chris. This may look like a Chris, but it is not deserving of classification as a Chris, often prescribed as talismanic charms for esoteric and mystical connotations. I refer to them as psychological placebos. To a certain extent, when something is faithfully believed with blind conviction, what is believed eventually comes into effect. Once again, if you are getting these for references, it is okay if you are paying the justified price for it. What is sad is how many gets conned into paying thousands of dollars out of sheer stupidity and ignorance by believing charlatans donning the garb of a mystic or a pious and religious figure. We have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope this episode adds value to you and that you have gained something from watching this. I look forward to reading your feedback in the comment section, so please feel free to comment. If you like what you have watched today and feel that more useful videos are required, please show me your support by clicking the like, subscribe and bell notification icon. New episodes airs on alternate Wednesdays at 8 PM Singapore time. Once again, to all Muslims celebrating Idul Fitri celebrations, I wish all of you Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir dan Batin, Go easy on the festivities, keep your mask up, maintain social distancing, and follow the advisory given by our health ministry when visiting family and relatives. So until the next episode, stay safe, celebrate Idul Fitri responsibly. This is Kari Johari, better known as Pak Jofe, the Chris Collector from Singapore, snapping out. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.